Have you ever stopped and wondered just how much your specific approach to parenting is actually impacting your child's report card? I mean, we all want our kids to do well, right? But figuring out the best way to help them can feel, well, a little overwhelming. So in this explainer, we're going to cut right through the noise and look at what the actual research says about this powerful link between how we parent and how our kids perform in school. Okay, so let's just get right to it. Here's the big question. Can you really draw a straight line from a specific parenting style to a child's grades? To figure that out, we're going to dive into the findings from two really key studies, one that looked at elementary schoolers and another that focused on kids in junior high. Now look, we all know there are a ton of things that can influence a student's grades, right? You've got teachers, friends, even just a kid's own personal motivation. But the research points again and again to one of the most powerful influences of all, and it starts right at home. It's those daily interactions, the rules you set, and just the general emotional vibe of the house that really sets the stage for learning.
So, to really get a handle on this, researchers have basically identified four main parenting styles. You can think of them as four different coaching strategies, each with a totally different playbook. Let's break them down one by one and see how they stack up. First up is what's called the authoritative style. The best way to think about this one is the supportive coach. These are the parents who have high expectations for sure, but they also offer a ton of warmth, feedback, and encouragement. They're the ones who explain the why behind the rules and really value having an open conversation with their kids.
Next, we've got the authoritarian style, which is, well, it's pretty different. Think drill sergeant. This whole approach is about strict rules and total obedience. It's the classic because I said so style. The demands are high, but there's not a lot of warmth or back and forth dialogue. The main focus here is really on control and discipline, period.
Then you have permissive parenting. This one's kind of like being a cheerleader. These parents are incredibly loving, super responsive, but they don't really set many rules or guidelines. They often act more like a friend to their child than a parent, which means the kids get a whole lot of freedom.
And finally, there's neglectful parenting, or the disengaged observer. This one is pretty much what it sounds like, a general lack of involvement. These parents aren't demanding, but they're not very responsive either. They're often just detached from their child's life, and they don't provide much in the way of guidance or attention.
So there you have it, our four contenders. Now for the real question. How do they actually perform when it comes to schoolwork? Let's turn to the data from those studies on elementary and junior high kids and see what the numbers actually tell us.
And you know what? The findings are incredibly clear. One of the studies came to this really direct conclusion. That supportive coach style, it has a strong, positive, and direct impact on how well students do in the classroom. No ambiguity there.
And this chart just lays it all out, plain as day. This trend shows up across different age groups. Just look at that first bar for the authoritative style. It's consistently linked with higher academic performance. Then you look at the others, authoritarian, permissive, neglectful, and you see lower or, at best, kind of mixed results. I mean, the difference is just so striking when you see it like this.
And here's the really crucial part. This isn't just some vague observation. When the researchers crunched the numbers, they found that the authoritative style had a statistically significant positive effect. That means the connection is real, it's measurable. But on the flip side, you take a style like permissive parenting, it showed no significant link to grades at all. So all that warmth and friendliness just wasn't translating into better academic results. So this brings us to the million-dollar question, right? What's the secret sauce here? Why does this one style, the authoritative supportive coach, consistently come out on top? Let's really dig into the specific ingredients that give it such a powerful edge when it comes to a child's success in school. And here it is. This is the recipe. It's this amazing balance of being warm and supportive while also having firm boundaries and clear expectations. When kids understand why the rules exist and they feel encouraged to think for themselves, they start to build real confidence. It's this magical mix of affection and guidance that helps them develop the kind of internal motivation they need to really thrive in school. So what's the big takeaway from all this? For any parent or guardian or even an educator, understanding these dynamics isn't about judging anyone. It's about empowerment. It's about knowing what works and, more importantly, why it works. And really, this is what the researchers concluded. The very first step in helping our kids succeed is to arm ourselves with the knowledge of what actually helps them grow. When we understand these dynamics, we can be so much more intentional and effective as guides for our kids, not just for school, but for their whole lives.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one question to think about. This isn't about completely changing who you are overnight, it's about small, consistent steps. Maybe it's just taking an extra minute to explain the why behind a rule, or maybe it's just asking about their day at school and listening with genuine curiosity. What's one small thing you can do today to lean into that supportive coach role?